The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
It is October 1st, and that means I get to sit in my favorite place on earth. That is the 3 Box. The 3 Box I'm sitting right now. If you're listening on audio, you're not experiencing the 3 Box. If you're watching on video, thank you for tuning in to the Jesse Blake Sports Report YouTube channel. Below me, for everybody listening, I will describe it to you. Below me is my standings predictions that I made over the last few weeks in the month of September for the NHL season. That'll come in handy as we make our power rankings for today. That is below me in the 3 Box. To the left of me on the screen, which is actually the right of me in real life, is our spreadsheet where I have up the power rankings that we've made the last 3 months on the first of every month. We have July, we have August, we have September. We will go through our most recent power rankings of September, and we will make our October power rankings. If you're not familiar, we do this on the first of every month. Let's get to it. And it's important here as we kick things off to explain to you, hey, what's going on here with your standings and your power rankings? Like, why is there a difference? Why don't you just take that and throw it into your power rankings? No, the standings I have below me are the predictions for how the season's going to end. It's projecting out where I think these teams are going to finish at the end of the season. It's not a snapshot of where the teams are right now based on what they've done in the offseason, based on the team, like how it looks on paper. So we're taking that into a factor too, because the team on paper is like how I'm judging the predictions. But it's more of a snapshot of who's the best and who's the worst and who's in the middle. That's what our power rankings are. That's what we're formulating today. I keep looking to the left of me because the screen is actually there, but it's actually to the right of me in the 3 Box. Everybody's listening, doesn't care about that. If you're watching, that's why I'm doing that. Let's make our October power rankings. We're using my predictions to formulate an idea of how we feel about these teams and also where we project them out to be, but we have to consider where they are right now. I think Chicago's going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to finish 4th in the Central. They're going to be competing for a wild card spot at the very least. Are they there right now? No. So we're not going to have them way up in the standings in the power rankings, even though I think they're going to climb to that position eventually in the season. And this is the last power rankings we're making without games being played. When I sit back here in my favorite spot on November 1st, we're going to have a month's worth of games for our next power rankings. And I am so excited for that. I've done enough yapping. Yap University is finally closed. Let's do our power rankings. The Florida Panthers, I refuse to take them out of the first position of our power rankings until they play a game and they lose a game. So the Florida Panthers will remain number 1. The Edmonton Oilers are number 2 in the power rankings. I have them second in the Pacific Division by the end of the season, but looking at the way Demko's season is starting, my prediction of Edmonton finishing second in the Pacific, like they should easily be the favorite in terms of like the betting odds. And Vancouver might just struggle to start the season if they have no goaltending. But we'll see how that Demko situation plays out. New York, I have my trophies and awards predictions coming out this week. The New York Rangers, spoiler, I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm going to say that in that video. So they're going to be 3rd on the power rankings. I have Vancouver in 4th in the September power rankings. I think that's appropriate. I think they're going to win the Pacific. And talent on the ice, they're as good as anybody. I think bar for bar, they're as good as anybody when Demko is healthy. A week out on October 1st, we've still got a little bit to play before the season kicks off. We're still unsure. I'm going to go with he's healthy-ish to start the season. Like he's not out for the majority of the year. He's back sometime in October. On paper, with this squad, Vancouver, 4th best team in the league. Dallas Stars, for the last 2 months, I've had them in 5th position. I think Colorado has to pass them just because right now those two teams are neck and neck in talent. And when I was looking at the rosters for the season previews, I did have Colorado ahead of Dallas. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to flip-flop a little. 5, Colorado. 6, Dallas. Dallas drops a spot in the power rankings. The top 6 so far in our October NHL JBSR power rankings. Florida, Edmonton, New York, Vancouver, Colorado, and Dallas. Now, coming in at number 7 in September was Nashville. Nashville, who I have behind Colorado and Dallas in my standings predictions. I think Nashville is appropriately in 7th. Not a lot of changes there. At 8, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I have Tampa in my predictions behind Boston, Florida, and Toronto. But I have Tampa at 8 in the standings. I felt like I was a little disrespectful to the Golden Knights in my initial predictions of the Pacific. So I had bumped them, I'd like them down in 5th, and then I'd swap them up to 3rd. And here, I'm going to throw some more respect to the Golden Knights' way. I dropped them from 8 to 9 from August to September, and I think that was wrong. Vegas, I think right now, has a higher outlook, and on paper in a 1-game series, I'm taking Vegas over Tampa. So VGK is going back up to number 8 in the power rankings. Tampa might fall here a little bit because we have a little bit of a conundrum. In September, from 8 through 14, we had Vegas, Winnipeg, Toronto, Boston, Carolina, Washington, New Jersey. Well, in my standings predictions, I have New Jersey winning the Metro. So New Jersey's got to hop the Caps and Hurricanes a bit. On paper, like maybe not the Hurricanes, because remember, it's a snapshot of where we think these teams are right now. But there's the argument to be made that right now, collectively, we should all believe that the Devils have a better team than the Hurricanes, even though the Hurricanes have proved it more recently. So I think the Devils definitely hop the Caps. Do they hop the Bruins, Leafs, Jets? I'm not sure. Boston, with the Swayman situation, has to at least... I like Boston on paper more than the Jets, so Boston's going to hop Winnipeg for sure. I have them winning the Atlantic, by the way. But Boston winning the Atlantic is on Swayman playing for them. I honestly think it's going to get solved. If I'm being 100% honest, Boston is playing dirty business in the media, but I think when we sit here in a week's time, I'm going to be like, you know what? Swayman's starting and everything's fine in Boston, and like none of that was serious at all. It was just negotiation, and they got it all solved. Like, in a week's time, maybe I'll come on here and be completely wrong. But I think Swayman's going to be in net for Boston come 2 weeks from now. You know, if it's not maybe the first week of the season, second week. Like, he's not sitting out till December. I might have to eat those words. But Boston, I'm going to say with Swayman, better team than the Leafs, better team than the Jets, not better than the Lightning, too. I'm going to take Boston over the Lightning, Jets. This is crazy. This is insane. I'm going to do it. This is insane because this team doesn't have their starting goaltender right now. But I love this team on paper. I think they're better than the Jets, Lightning, and Leafs. And if I think they are that with Swayman, they got to be at number 9 in the power rankings. Next up, we will go with Toronto. Toronto's back up ahead of the Lightning. They actually were never ahead of... I'm being a little disrespectful to the Lightning. Boston, Toronto, Tampa. I think, run a trio here in the power. Oh, the Jets. Let's go Toronto. So Tor Maple Leafs. They go up one spot. Stolarz looked great in preseason. They avoided a big injury with Tavares. Willie's been looking good at center. The Leafs hop up one spot to number 10. Then we got, Tampa. I had Tampa ahead of the Winnipeg Jets in every single power ranking so far. I'm dropping them below. For what reason? For what reason is Tampa worse than the Jets? That's not fair. Tampa's going ahead of the Jets, so we have a little Atlantic Division low run here. I'm going to read off the top 12 for you because we've decided the top 12. Winnipeg's going down 2 spots. Florida, Edmonton, New York, Vancouver, Colorado, Dallas, Nashville, Vegas, Boston, Toronto, Tampa, Winnipeg. What's happened here is I like the roster of the Boston Bruins. That's kind of what's thrown these standings out of whack is I like Boston's roster with Swayman. I think he's going to play. Tampa, I think I always should have had them ahead of the Winnipeg Jets, which I do. And Toronto, I should have had ahead of Tampa. Toronto should have been ahead of Tampa, so I'm correcting that. Winnipeg just unfortunately has to move down 2 spots because Toronto gets to move up, Boston gets to move up. Boston, Toronto, Tampa, Winnipeg. Boom! Next up, New Jersey! The Devils getting to number 13. The Devils have been moving on up. Actually, they've been moving down, but they're back up. This is the highest they've ever been. They were at 14 in July and August, and then 15 in September. They are going up 2 spots from the September rankings. Carolina, I think I might regret this. Carolina down 1 spot to 14. I think I might regret that. The Islanders, though, this one I'm not going to regret. The Islanders need to be ahead of the Caps. The Islanders go up 1 spot. The Islanders have been moving on up. They go from 16 to 15 in the standings here. The Caps finally come in at number 16. They drop 2 spots. Ooh, the Capitals dropping 2 spots. And then we got the Kings, Wild, Red Wings, Kraken, Pittsburgh. Let me read off for you, everybody listening at home, the top 16 in the JBSR NHL Power Rankings. Florida, Edmonton, New York, Vancouver, Colorado up 1 spot, Dallas up 1 spot, Predators, Golden Knights up 1 spot, Boston up 3 at 9, Toronto at 10 up 1, Vegas up Vegas. Lightning minus 2 at 11, Jets minus 2 at 12, Devils plus 2 at 13, Hurricanes minus 1 at 14, Islanders plus 1 at 15, 16 Caps minus 2. The Kings definitely go there. They stay in the same spot from September. They go 17. Detroit, here we go. We got something interesting here. Ottawa needs to hop a bunch of teams. Ottawa is going to be the biggest mover from these power rankings. They're going ahead of Calgary, Buffalo, Philly, St. Louis, I guess, too. St. Louis, yeah, I should have them ahead of... Okay, Minnesota's going here. Minnesota's going to be... Even though I have in my Central Division predictions, Minnesota finishing 7th. I think it's a pretty bold prediction to have them in 7th, and that on paper they're a lot better than 7th. So I think they're around 18th best team in the league right now, and that they're going to prove these power rankings wrong. They're going to drop down as we start playing games, but right now they are not my prediction. I think they'll get there by the end of the season, But right now, Minnesota, I got to throw some respect their way, keep them at 18, even though I have them in 7th in the Central Division standings. And the interesting thing about my standings is Ottawa at 5th. Ottawa at 5th, which would be ahead of where I have every other team below. Every other team in the standings right now, I have Ottawa finishing ahead of, except for Chicago, who I have finishing 4th in Central, but that's like an outlier. So Ottawa here, we gotta get interesting. I don't think they hop the Red Wings. I don't think they hop the Kraken. I don't think they hop the Penguins. But the Blues, Flyers, Sabres, Calgary, yeah, let's do this. Also, Seattle ahead of the Red Wings because the Red Wings goalie situation is just terrible. So we're going Seattle at 19. Minnesota was 18. Detroit at 20. And then Ottawa. Ottawa's got to be right here. The Penguins. I'll put the Penguins. Penguins stick around at 21. They don't move. Ottawa's got to go right here ahead of the Blues. So Ottawa's moving up 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. 4 spots. And then we fill out the Blues, who drop down 1. The Flyers for sure drop down 1. They're 24. The Blues are 23. Calgary, Buffalo. So lastly, we got from 25 to 32. We got Calgary, Buffalo, Montreal, Utah, San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim, and Columbus. Utah, I've been extremely disrespectful for. I dropped them way down below every single time. They've gone from 22 in July to 24 in August to 28 in September. Utah's got to get a slight bump here. I think I was a little too disrespectful to Utah. Utah's going back up 1 spot, 2 spot, 3 spots to 25. That leaves Buffalo. Montreal lost line A, so they're done. They're way at the bottom. Like no chance for Montreal to hop anybody here. Calgary. Should I have Buffalo ahead of Calgary? I guess. Calgary moves down 2 spots to number 27. And then we got left. Columbus should slot in right here, even though we're unsure of they still need to make a roster move or a couple. I don't imagine Don Waddell is going to sit on his hands. The roster is going to look a little different. But Columbus at 28, right behind Calgary. And then we got Chicago, who's the best of the worst. And they need to prove me right and make the playoffs. Montreal, MTL, Canadians, 30th, down 3 spots with the line A loss. San Jose, who I really like to prove me right, finish a little higher in these standings this season. The Ducks. Here we go. This is the official NHL Power Rankings, the JBSR NHL Power Rankings for the month of October. 1, Florida. 2, Edmonton. 3, New York. 4, Vancouver. 5, Colorado. 6, Dallas. 7, Nashville. 8, Vegas. 9, Boston. 10, Toronto. 11, Tampa. 12, Winnipeg. 13, New Jersey. 14, Carolina. 15, the Islanders. 16, Washington. 17, LA. 18, Minnesota. 19, Seattle. 20, Detroit. 21, Pittsburgh. 22 Ottawa, 23 St. Louis, 24 Philly, 25 Utah, 26 Buffalo, 27 Calgary, 28 Columbus, 29 Chicago, 30 Montreal, 31 San Jose, 32 Anaheim. Thank you. Thank you for sitting through this with me and figuring out our power rankings. This is going to be very interesting going forward because now we get games. Now we get to see how accurate we truly are. We have 4 months of power rankings. Where did we land with these teams now that we got 4 months of evidence come November 1st when we reconvene in the 3 box? This is going to be, the next episode is going to be, I should say, the most interesting power rankings. And these October power rankings, the ones we just did, have the most on the line. It's going to be how much do they move to line up with my predictions? How much do they move to accurately depict where each team is currently in the league? How much do they shift into some other world where I'm completely wrong about everything? I cannot wait to reconvene in 31 days on November 1st and figure out the November power rankings because we have actual hockey to base these rankings off of. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world if you chose to be listening or watching right now, and I greatly appreciate you for that. You're going to be hearing from me a whole bunch this month. I'm planning on ramping up the episodes of this pod. You're going to get nearly daily videos from me. We're going to dabble back into the Blue Jays now that the season is over, and Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are going to speak on Wednesday. We'll get some more Blue Jays content. You're going to get a little bit of NFL coming back. I know I talked about opening night and I didn't sprinkle any other NFL content in there, but you're going to get some NFL. You're going to get a little World Series stuff, but the main thing you're going to get is hockey. You're going to get a lot of hockey over the course of this entire season because hockey's back, and I'm going to be sitting here talking with you about the big events that unfold over the course of this season. So I'm excited for this NHL season. I'm excited to get this channel just humming for the next, 6, 7, 8 months until we get to the summer again. So we're going to have a lot of fun here. Continue to leave a whole bunch of feedback on the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the Jesse Blake Sports Report YouTube channel, hit subscribe. I'm always reading your comments. I'm always trying to respond to them, and then I'll always try and do a couple episodes where I'm actually interacting with your comments. So that's it for me tonight. I'm gonna be back very shortly with my awards and trophies predictions for this upcoming season. You're gonna be hearing from me a lot more, just reacting to things that happen out in the NHL world and the sporting world as a whole. That is it. Good night from Toronto.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.